Fix, it's your boy Nara here with Ari, and we have a comedic fruit in the building. That work? Yeah. Before we get to that, obviously, big ups to our sponsors. She just roll hard. Before we get to that, obviously, big ups to our sponsors, Itopia Life. Herbos or cannabis and culture combined for a one-of-a-kind experience. You can visit them at 10A West Kings House Road, just across from Canadian Embassy. Also, you can follow them on Instagram at Itopia Life or visit their webpage at itopialife.com for the latest info on strains and merch. This is also brought to you by Self-Care Friday. The skin is the largest organ on the body, and whatever is applied is absorbed by the skin, thus into the bloodstream. Therefore, it is important that we're mindful of what we use on our body, and this is where Self-Care Friday comes into play. They take away the hassle of you having to worry about what goes on your skin, as their products are safe and sustainable. They're handmade with natural source ingredients from Earth. Their nourishing products range from organic, natural, and vegan, as they are cruelty-free. Love your skin, and your skin will love you back. Give your skin sanctum and choose Self-Care Friday, and let's make every day Friday. You can use the code FIX15 and get 15% off all purchases. Follow them on Instagram and TikTok at Self-Care Friday, and visit their website at selfcarefriday.com. You can use our code TheFix15 and get 15% off all purchases. That's code TheFix15 to get 15% off all purchases. Follow them on Instagram, TikTok, Self-Care Friday, and visit their website at selfcarefriday.com. Also, big up Rep JA for the merch. You can go follow them on Instagram at Rep JA. We'll cop some of that sweet merch that them have. All right.
And of course, big up Trends and Deals. Follow them on Instagram at Trends and Deals.
As I said, we have a comedic fruit in the building. Comedian, motivational speaker, actress, TikToker. Am I missing out any other slashes on the name? Yes, I am. You're just a bit modest right now. Look at you. Julie Mango in the building. There we go. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
So, I mean, I know you live overseas, but is it that the main reason why you're here is because of the IMC, the music conference? Because I saw that you were a panelist.
Yeah, I am. I hosted the chairman's dinner, and I'm a panelist. I was a panelist for the YouTube panel. I'll be a panelist tomorrow for content evolution. So yeah, that's why I'm here this time around.
So YouTube, I mean, I know that you do really have your YouTube channel. So like, what was the panel discussion like? What was the overall?
It was basically just talking about social media on a whole, even though it's labeled YouTube. It was talking about, how to monetize and what's the culture of social media like, how you've grown or how persons have grown since starting out on social media. What's the type of personality that you need to have? What's the kind of mindset? What can you expect? That's what the questions were really centered around on that panel.
Yeah, because I mean, I mostly get your videos through Instagram. So, and I know TikTok. So you're major on those two platforms versus YouTube, right? Essentially. But then the second panel that you're going to be a part of is content creation or content evolution. So what do you mean by what is the idea when people say content evolution? Like,
I can't tell you yet. The panel don't happen yet.
Oh, well, can't
give out the secrets.
No, well, from your perspective though, just a little, just like what you mean by what does it mean for content evolution?
I mean, it's content evolution is just the evolution of content over the years, what it is like now versus what it is like when social media just appeared on the platform, just became popular, and not just became popular, but in Jamaica versus other countries. So it's just to talk about the growth of content and what to expect and how can we keep up with trends and, cut a certain path amidst the noise.
Yeah, because I mean, it feels as if content creators are pretty much the main drivers for advertising and promotion, like I know that you guys are the go-to for companies and I guess certain brands to align themselves with, to promote and advertise. I feel like that's overall content evolution, because it's not just doing your content for content's sake. There's some intention and even okay.
I'm I'm sorry if this is not going well, but just it's all of that will be discussed tomorrow. So I mean, I can't like.
Go out the sauce like that. Yeah.
Yep.
How you getting out of the content game, by the way?
Huh?
How did you get into the content? Yeah.
So it started on the brink of the pandemic, November 2020. My stepmom, which is my dad's wife, she sent me a video of a music thing that somebody living in America, saying how Jamaicans do praise and worship versus how Americans do praise and worship. And I just had the idea to put a skit to it, and then that just happened. When I posted it on Instagram, then people started liking it, and I saw, at that time I had like about 500 and something followers on Instagram, and when I posted it, more persons started following, and I'm like, all right, more people want more of this. Okay, let me see what I can do whilst I'm working.
Okay. You mentioned earlier about, having the personality for it. At least deciding what type of personality you want to be on social media. So was that something that you did yourself and say, oh, this is who I want to be versus what's already out there? Like you took a look at the landscape and said, this is out there. Let me offer something different.
When I say personality for it, I'm really speaking about the mental fortitude for it. So social media has a lane or a space for every type of personality. Even if you're an introvert, then you would put out introverted content, and other introverts will resonate with that type of content. If you like animals, if you're weird, if you're into squeezing bumps, if you're doing weird stuff, there's a place on social media for every type of personality. But when I say the type, it just means the gusto that you need to post on social media and not let it get to you. It's not a good idea to necessarily, there's a thing called branding yourself or deciding what brand you want to be. I don't personally agree with that, because I believe that your brand is you, and it works for some people. If you want a different brand than what you are. For me, my brand is just me. I don't brand what you call it. No, I don't create a brand or anything like that. My brand is just me.
Well, and who are you?
Me? So I don't really know. I can't really define it in a sentence like that. It's hard to define it. But if I should talk about my attributes or where I come from and the things that I like, I'm a country girl. I grew up in Clarendon and Manchester, and I grew up in a nuclear family setting until my parents got divorced. And then, I went through school. I studied engineering. And I was always a joker in class. I wouldn't necessarily class clown, or troublemaker or anything. It was kind of weird. It was kind of a weird balance, because I did drama in high school, but then I was super serious because I used to be a cadet. I was a part of the Jamaica Combined Cadet Force, which every school child should be a part of, the JCCF.
That don't know. Don't think there's any more cadets.
There isn't?
I mean, if they are, they're probably phased out. Like when I was in school, there was cadets, but it's not a major.
Well, they're still cadets. They're still there. They're still operational. So yeah.
Maybe entry is low.
You sound like a couple of bridging them, man. Well, in a cadets, them have discipline, but then get enough trouble. So
yeah, it's a good place. Yeah, it's a good place for children who actually give a lot of trouble, but are like geniuses or very hyperactive, because persons in cadets are not afraid to match your energy. So if you're a troublesome child, then the sergeant or the corporal in charge would match your troublesome energy. Unlike a parent, like maybe a single. Literally, the reason I joined the cadets is because when my parents got divorced.
This was in high school.
Yeah. My mom had the idea that she was a single parent. She was not a single parent. Daddy was always there. But it's fine. And so she said, you need to join the cadets because you need a father figure in my life. I'd note I didn't need a father figure. Daddy was there. Daddy was quite present, okay? Just living in a different house.
It seems like something like you argue with your mother about to this day.
I don't really argue with her about it, because it's not really, well, Jamaican moms, you can't really, well, in my situation, it was best for me not to necessarily broach that subject with her. I just had to recognize it for what it was and did what was best for me, and just recognize the truth and operate on that. And so that's why I ended up joining cadets, because mommy wanted a father figure in my life and such that.
So did you want to join it?
I know I hated it at first. I tried to come out several times, but what was really good is that it's the discipline that it taught me, and also how to survive anywhere. And this is why I can get up and just go to the United States or go to Cayman or go wherever and not necessarily feel...
By yourself?
Yeah, man, not necessarily feel fearful. And this is how I was able to relate to the opposite sex, like as friends, because in cadets, you will literally sleep in a classroom on desk and there's a partition. The girls sleep over there and the boys sleep over there. And so it teaches you how to,
Self-control.
yeah, it teaches you self-control and it teaches you how to be chaste and it teaches you how to just be a decent person. Yes, you have the outliers who are troublemakers, but I'm telling you, there's more good than bad in the organization. So
When did you realize this?
realize
Like,
what?
While you were like the benefits of it, because as you say, you never.
Oh,
really
when I
wanted-
was old and grown.
That's
When you've
usually
gone
when
through
you're.
it. So like, what made you stay though? Like, what was it that made you stay?
Then almost mommy.
Yeah, I could have answered that. Like,
No, I mean,
And also the hype surrounded by it because when I would put on my uniform and go to school and everybody in them school clothes, you have 4-H club, you have Girls Guide, you have Brownie, you have all of those uniformed extracurricular activity groups. You have the footballers who are not necessarily uniformed during class time. They would change after, but them still have them thing. And I would come to school in my green denim. That's what we call it. It looks like an army uniform, but without the
and then
camouflage
beret.
and the hat and the boots and everything. And I would be just walking like a real
Which school was this?
So-
Manchester
yeah.
High
Nice,
School,
okay.
Soj. So there was a hype that came along with it, and
yeah, there is. That
and
look like-
because I got a scholarship to do to become a pilot at 19, and
Wow.
Cadet Force offered that, so it was really just the hype and thing. That's why I stayed. But
Yeah, because I'm sure there was something other than her mom.
Mm-hmm.
Because no matter the external forces, because we used to do tracks, I used to do tracks. I hated it in the beginning, but there was something about it that I like it. When the winning the award or the medals and winning the races, that was it. That was the internal force or pleasure I got from it. And also, like, I realized too, like, with social media, you realize there's a dichotomy or a duality with your personality where you're performing and being extroverted, but yet still there's like a sort of introvert to you, and how you manage that.
not necessarily. All right, so for me, it's really just a time and place for everything. Sometimes I have the energy to talk to everybody. Sometimes I just want to be alone. I don't necessarily consider myself to be an introvert. I know that. So I guess what it is that I am an ambivert then, because there's such a term. They have term for everything, but I don't
Everything,
necessarily try to define everything. It's just that you have to realize that when you're on social media, I even said it when I was on the panel, when I was on social media, energy is taken from you. So when you create something and you put it on the social media and someone take up their phone and they either laugh at it or they cry, or somebody's in the hospital and literally a cancer patient messaged me and said to me that they just finished chemo, they can barely move, and they watch my videos to get through the day.
Wow.
You see, that energy that they pull from me, it matters, and that's not just one person, it's hundreds of thousands of persons.
Yeah, I was going to ask
And
you
so-
how often you get messages like that. Yeah.
Probably every day.
Ooh.
So, virtue comes out of you as a content creator. Just like when Jesus was walking and the woman that had the issue of blood for 12 years, a lot of people was bouncing against Jesus and he never really feel it like that. But when the woman touched the hem of his garment and he looked around and he said, "Who touched me?" Remember, I said other people were touching him. When he looked around and said, "Who touched me?" that's because virtue came out of him. He felt the energy coming out of him, somebody pulling on him. And so as a content creator, you're going to always feel that energy pulling on you. And so there's a time when you have to just rest and close off from it all to replenish yourself. So, it's not really a dichotomy like that. It's not like, oh, I'm a different person in real life versus, it's just that sometimes I need to replenish and I will just, shut down without apology and then come back out and you're like, "Hi, Julia." I'm like, "Hey, what's up?"
So how are some of the ways that you shut down and replenish?
I want me to ask you before that, like, is that how you usually approach things? Like, what would Jesus do?
I mean,
no,
we should
the
all do that.
The what would Jesus do is kind of the what would Jesus do is kind of like a tag phrase, and then it would also suggest that life is perfect. That is how, as you said, that's how we're supposed to do it, but that's not how we do it all the time. And that's not, and I don't think what would Jesus, it's not just Jesus. There are a lot of examples in the Bible of how to live. And there are things that Jesus didn't necessarily set an example of, but Paul tells you what to really do So not really, and that's like a catchphrase where
Every Christian subscribe to.
Not everyone.
It's like turn the other cheek, but he got angry.
Turn over some table, all these things. The aviator life now. Like when you got into how you got into that?
Well, she said she got a scholarship.
Yeah, but how did that go?
Your interest
When you-
peaked.
Yeah.
as I said, I'm gonna be totally honest. It was literally just the hype. I had no interest in being a pilot because what happened is that
I can hear it in
truly,
even when you speak about it now.
I feel like your life is just happenstance.
Yeah,
Like, let's see what happens. Is that it? Is
I
that
never really
it?
care, and I just went into it. But
Mom said to do it.
I mean, well, so all right. Remember, say let me put it in perspective for you. Remember, say Manchester High School is a country school, even though we have some really successful
Yeah,
people
good
out of
one.
Manchester High School, right? It's still a country school. It's still the school where when I was growing up, when you go Kingston, it's almost like you go to America, right? So that's the type of thing. And so this little country girl now, in a country school, I learned to turn pilot. And then they had a school newspaper, so them print out my picture in the school newspaper and everything. And I said, no man, I have to go do this because this
The
a high
pressure is
nice.
getting worse.
The pressure is getting worse, right? And so
Full on pressure.
and so I did. So the scholarship is available for anyone who is a warrant officer class 2 in cadets, and I was that. And then so it was offered to us by the then Wings Jamaica, and then I just did that. I did I did the practical and the theory. I did my solo flight, and then when I got the license in hand, I only flew once after that. I took up my best friend Emile. His mother, she's a guy, I don't know if she still practices, she's a gynecologist, and she was worried for her son's life. I said, it's why we are 19. Both of us are 19. And yes, she's seen me a few times over his house, and I come over there and beg food and whatever, but to take her son flying,
Wait, what kind of plane was it? Was it
it's
like...
a Cessna 150, so
Wait,
only
I-
2 people,
I
so
don't
only
know.
you and him can hold in it.
Okay.
Right?
Mhm.
And it's an old plane. It's a plane that was
Gotcha.
donated to Jamaica
like
by
Indiana
the
Jones
Queen.
and them flying.
By the Queen in 1975 after them done use it out in England. So it was an old plane.
Still use it. Them
Yeah,
still
man.
flight.
Real taxi man.
So
refurbished.
where you did fly to from?
So
where
we
to where?
flew we flew from Tinsipen Aerodrome to the one that is in Ocho Rios.
Ken Jones.
Ken Jones.
No, that's
It's
Portland.
Ken Jones. Yes, Ken Jones. And then we went to Montego Bay Airport. I landed at Montego Bay Airport and then took off back from there and then came back to Kingston, and that was it.
So because your profession isn't really, or before you came into content creation, it wasn't a pilot. You
No,
just
so
done
I
it.
do, after I did that flight, I was like, all right, that's
Done.
it. Time to sixth form is over. What am I gonna do? And then no, daddy.
be a pilot.
No, I was like, not for me. Like, get somebody else to do it, not me.
Wow.
And so daddy, so this was after sixth form. So I graduated sixth form and I was at home like for about a month. And this is not much time passed because my parents are like very proactive. Okay, what you gonna do now? Mommy wanted me to just chill out, relax, maybe go NCU or something. Daddy, he's like, not a bit of that. You're going to school. What you want to study? I'm like, I don't know. And then he's like, all right, do engineering. I'm like, all right, cool. And then he went to
Julie's
UTech.
life is happenstance.
He went to UTech and got the brochure. Turned to the engineering section, and then I closed my eyes. I kid you not. You can ask mommy if she remember. I put my finger at the top of the page and I slide it down, and it stopped at structural engineering, and that's what I studied. And I practiced that for 17 years.
Wow. Because you said that you lived in, or you're where you reside now in the US is Missouri. So when you leave Jamaica, that's where you went immediately?
Yeah. So I went to Missouri. I worked for Blue Scope Buildings.
Okay.
It's a structural steel company. They design structural steel buildings like FedEx, Costco, Walmart, all of those.
Wow. So when you leave that job, like what was it like? I mean, you're saying I'm skedaddling. I'm making YouTube, into IG videos. Like everybody look at you, I'm sure, like a crazy person.
Yeah, my boss was a little worried about me, because I said, I had in my 2 weeks resignation and thing, and he's like, because he's from Syria, even though and he's like, why are you leaving? Is it something? Because where I work in Missouri, I don't know, but it's a great experience. It's majority Caucasian people, Australian people from Syria, and they are so kind. So when
you've never experienced racism?
Nope.
When they're there?
Not at all. Not even slightly.
Wow.
I would have to be literally looking for it, and even if I look for it. But first of all, remember, said Jamaicans, well, as a Jamaican, I'm not expecting racism like that. Maybe Black Americans more because they've lived in it, but in Missouri, not at all. Not even when the police pulled me over, because they pulled me over one time and my license was expired for 6 months. Not my license, my license plate. And I never know. And the man was like, ma'am, just get it sorted. Like, and that
I don't
was
feel like killing you today.
That was an old white officer. So yeah, I've never experienced it. But my boss looked at me and he's like, why are you leaving? And I'm like, I want to create content. And he's like, create content? What is that? And I'm like put stuff on IG, Instagram, Facebook, and he's like, okay, well, I'm here. If you need anything, if you want to call me back, just call me back. All the best, and, God's blessings and so on. And, just let me know if everything works out. I'm like, okay.
How long has that been? You said 2020, so it's like...
I resigned in 2021.
So 2 years, like roughly.
Yeah, almost 2 years.
I mean, what was it though that made you think that I can really do this as a legit profession? Like
when the brand deal started coming in and I couldn't do the two things at once, and then I prayed for about 6 months. Me and my therapist, we were like praying. And then
even your therapist was in on the praying.
Yeah, she involved in it. That's what.
So you know, it's serious.
I mean, most of them is just like, you know what? I really don't know. You have to do what's best.
That's not therapist. Therapists need to help you to make a decision and get in it with you and take responsibility too.
Because that's the thing they don't want. No, I don't want to be responsible for f***ing up your life.
Did she suggest the prayer? Like, are you like, who did start prayer first?
No, well, I think it was, I chose a therapist that has the same values as me, which is important. So I'm a Christian. Not a holier than thou one. I like to put, because when you say Christian, then people automatically think that, okay, you're unapproachable. But she's a Christian also, so the synergy was there. So she wouldn't have to tell me to pray, or I wouldn't have to tell her that, okay, it's kind of like a given. It's not a discussion really. It's just that we match each other's energy with that.
Okay.
You ever feel pressured from the DMs that you get? Suppose I ask you that from who they talk about it. Like, you feel like a weight on you from the type of messages, like the heavy ones, like you spoke about?
Yeah, but I have to remember that that's not my job is to just create and put it out there. I have to remember that it's not my job to respond to every DM. It's not my job to tell everybody what to do. It's not my job to encourage everyone, because it's basically impossible. It is my job to create and put the content out there, and then they in turn can look at it and can laugh and can feel whatever they want, and whatever message that they are supposed to get from it, they will get from it just by the fact that I get up in the mornings, create the content, and replenish myself. So I have to remember that. Remember, as one person, you're not supposed to do what you're not supposed to do, because that's when you catch trouble.
Wait, repeat that?
As one person, you're not supposed to do what you're not supposed to do, because that's when you catch trouble. If you try to do this, do that,
Yeah.
like, there is this lady that wanted me to be on her podcast, and I wear a lot of wigs, and so my hair is natural, but I'll put in a weave. I will look like J-Lo if I want to.
I thought you were being metaphorical.
No. Oh, well, I do the wigs in the skits, but when I'm going out, if I want to put on a wig, I can wear my natural hair and I put on a wig and I'm fine. Even though I am a black person, I will wear straight hair. If I want to relax my hair tomorrow, I'll relax it. If I want to go natural, I'll shave it off and grow it out again. But there was this lady that she had a podcast about natural hair. And one of the requirements for me being in the podcast is for me to wear less wigs, because she wants to promote, and I get her thing. She wants to promote, being natural and embracing your black self and stuff like that. And that's a good move. And that's a good purpose, but it's not my purpose. And so I had to decline the podcast, because I know that My thing is mental health. My thing is comedy. My thing is not promoting or not trying to be in a lane where I am sticking to wearing black hair or straight hair or empowering yourself as a Black woman, because in whichever way you take it, I will be naturally empowering people as a Black woman simply because I'm Black. But it's not my purpose to actively speak about it. And if I go over that side, blessing now go follow me there. So
You're not Dr. Umaris. Dr. Umar Johnson, he's like blackness and all himself there.
Oh,
Yeah,
right. You
so
see,
you're
so
not
and
trying to
persons
be
are
her,
ordained
yeah.
to do that.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
get
why
you.
blessings will follow them when they do that.
Yeah, I get
I have to
that.
stick with what I am ordained to do or what,
Yeah.
what my gifting is.
That's true. That's true.
Comedians usually are some of the most depressed people. You find that to be the same for you? Or at least I want to know if that's...
Yeah, man, that's extremely true.
So
And as I said before, it's because virtue comes out of us. And what comedians or what content creators don't realize. This is why you find, this is why, and I'm not trivializing the guy that worked with Ellen DeGeneres that killed himself,
Twitch.
the other Twitch. When these things happen, I can literally see why. Because
True.
when you're happy and chirpy and stuff like that, it takes a lot to get up and do it. Like sometimes when you just don't feel like doing it. Like even today, coming for an interview, I was asleep when Tajna called me because I was tired. Last night I hosted a dinner for Shaggy, and today I was just gonna get some rest. But you see,
when were you on the panel? Yesterday? Or
yesterday,
yeah.
yesterday as well.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So I did. So
Yeah,
today
'cause I
was
know
like
so.
for me to rest. But then guess what? No. Sometimes you have to just do things that a part of your job is to do what people want you to do, right? And sometimes when if a content creator doesn't recognize that, then they will think that something is wrong with them for feeling tired all the time. And then when you feel bad about feeling tired, and then you feel bad about feeling bad that you're tired, and then you start to think
It's a whole
something is wrong with
cycle.
you. And then you start to feel depressed because you're seeing other people living normally, and then you have to be this happy person, and then there is this turmoil going on within you, and it just continues for years if you don't recognize that it's okay to feel tired. And so a lot of the times content creators or comedians don't feel like they are enough because we are naturally people pleasers. When we say something or we do something and you laugh, it gives us gratification or
Yes.
validation. No matter how much people want to say, don't care what people think, and I don't care what people... Lies. We care.
Thank you.
We care, and
if you're
it's
in the entertainment business,
and it's a big deal.
Yes,
and
it is.
if I put out a video and I don't get a certain amount of likes within an hour, I want to open up the floor and dive in there and don't come back out.
Wow.
And you have to recognize that that's just the life as a content creator.
Yeah.
So yeah, we are susceptible to depression. But you just have to recognize it and put steps in place to deal with it. Just like anything. I mean, if you're an astronaut and you go to outer space, you're susceptible to lack of oxygen. What do? You put whatever in the vessel that you have oxygen tanks. You just put things in place. Same thing for content creation. Same thing for mental health. Same thing for depression.
Yeah.
So when is it that you recognize that point in your life that, hey, this is something that I need to get on top of?
I mean, luckily
put
for
things in
me,
place.
I don't know how much you know about my story, but so mental health for me has been a very long burden. I attempted suicide 3 times when I was in Jamaica.
I don't know much about the mental issue
Right.
side of you.
So, well, I mean, so to answer your question, when did I recognize I needed to get a hold of it? Had nothing to do with social media per se. It was my therapist working with me throughout the years. And but when I realized that this social media thing is a different kettle of fish, and I had to have a different approach. I hope they might not pick up my belly roll. That I had to have a different, because the comedian they might.
Yeah, you know how much time we were about that.
And we were saying, go and get the KFC.
We did tell us to go get the KFC.
For those who are listening, I come in here with my nice and decent self.
I mean, cause Julie, she kind of did go a little hungry. I'm like, Julie, go get the food.
I didn't trouble nobody when I come in here. And the people them come in here with them good, nice, clean, original KFC.
Yeah, that too.
Because she was asking for
I
barbecue.
say, wow, I want to dive in the barbecue, and them say no.
Yeah.
Because
And
who
we
eats
said-
barbecue?
While we were
And-
eating too.
and
No.
And that's not it. Them I said no and them I devour the legs.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, while we're eating, no, not about
And I would like to add that nobody never offered me none of the original.
She said she didn't. No, that's not true. She said she didn't. She said she didn't like the original.
What you know? God is with me.
Because you make this.
And he provides. So it's
This
okay.
is true. Amen.
Where there's no potato, the spirit shall fulfill.
Yeah. Can just lay hands on it and multiply.
Me not remember what me that say.
Well, no, you
But
were
yes.
talking about something serious.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
So when I realized that I had to get a hold of this as a social media person was probably not very long ago, maybe like 8 months ago. And this is with me talking with other content creators. I can tell you exactly who, kind of told me that. Her name is Natasha Wright. She's the ambassador. And she does HR, and she's not necessarily a content creator, but she's on social media. And she mentioned that, listen, as a content creator, virtue comes out of you. So you have to just recognize that and put plans in place to deal with it.
And the thing is, one would think that you at least not knowing, the mental issue, side of you, one probably would look at you and the type of content that you do and say, hey, she's probably this happy-go-lucky, cheery person all the time.
You
Probably-
depressed?
Yeah. Probably very.
I mean,
Madness.
the
Surprised
truth
at
is,
that.
I am generally happy-go-lucky, to be honest with you. I'm jovial, right? But as I say, with every personality or with everybody, there's just a time and place for everything. Sometimes you just don't want to talk. But
Because
in
you said that you
general,
attempted suicide 3 times while in Jamaica?
yes.
So you're going to-
my official mental health diagnosis is borderline personality disorder, and I've had that from I was 8. I was officially diagnosed when I was 21 years old. But I did my first. So what that does is you do self mutilation, such as self cutting. If you look at my hands, you can still see the scars from like about 15 years ago.
Oh.
When was 2012? That's 10 years ago.
It's 10 years out.
Right.
11 years ago.
You can see the scars from 10 years ago. So that's so the mental health thing. I had that struggle in Jamaica coming up all the way up to in my late 30s when I left for the United States. So I mean, mental health is something that I've had to deal with, especially the stigma surrounding mental illness in Jamaica. I've had to deal with that
because
until I
the
moved to the
shame,
US.
That's usually the case. Like, I say all the time that there's so many people walking around like functional lunatics, essentially. Like, there are people who have so many emotional, mental disturbances, but they have to walk around. But I guess there's a shame too that cloak people. How were you able to remove that shame and like not
I
make
wasn't.
it burden?
I wasn't. I only got my healing when I migrated.
Because in Jamaica there is a restrict, like, pray it away, or like there is always just like this,
Drink some ginger tea.
and they like reduce it to like it's just nothing, and you're seeking attention.
It's
one
much
thing
more
or
than the
something.
trivialization of it. It's more the shame that's associated with it. I remember. So the other part of when I was in high school, there's the hype and the carrot and the this and the that. Amidst all that success, I was cutting myself at least twice every day. And my friends, who are my friends now, like literally the people I hang with now, they were, I know Tajna from prep school, right?
So long.
From Vaz?
Glenmuir.
From Vaz?
Glenmuir.
Oh, Glenmuir.
And Tajna was taught. So I was
Vaz
always.
is got Tajna. The Vaz is there, so you go.
No.
And Tajna is calm and sweet now, but Tajna used to beat me up because I was
I don't want to ask if
short.
you're bullied when you're younger, and lo and behold, the bully
I
was
wasn't.
right
So
here.
I wasn't necessarily bullied, right? 'Cause
Okay.
it wasn't really easy to bully me because I was kind of like just jumpy, happy go and da. So
Yeah.
if you said Julie, your head big, I was like, yeah, okay, head big, moving right along, right? So that really
That was our go-to insult. Yeah, big, right? Really?
no, man, no.
It's an
Let me-
example.
Oh,
It's an example. But Tajna now always used to fight me. She and Richard Kelly, right?
She call names.
yeah, names are being
First
called.
and
People
last.
get
Then,
outed,
let me tell you
yeah.
how she used to fight me because she was taller than me.
Yeah.
She took her fist from up the top, so she rotate her hand him like this.
Wow. Like one of them the Thai robot thing. Yeah.
But
I
anyway,
believe every word about it. I
names.
believe every word. She
But
wouldn't lie
anyways.
like that. What would Jesus do? She wouldn't lie.
Is
like
Richard Kelly your friend still?
So we spoke the other day about
That's the word.
Richard Kelly remembers nothing about what I
Of
speak
course
of.
not. Of course not.
And
Wow,
Richard
Were
Kelly
you
used to,
Richard Kelly friends? No.
Richard Kelly used to meet me, and then me did some fool. I don't know why I did it. Every evening I would meet Richard Kelly down by the playing field before the taxi came for me, Donovan, just for Richard to beat me up. And then when I see the red ladder coming, cause Donovan my parents hired a taxi chartered a taxi to take me home every evening.
Yeah.
So it's Glenmere. When I see the red ladder driving up the hill at Glenmere Prep School now, I say, Richard, me have to go home and then run back up the hill and go in the taxi. And
I think Julie liked it. I think you liked
Remember
it.
there, Pri? You know, really funny. If you ask Richard, I say, Julie Margaret. No, I don't even know her. I don't even know this woman. Today I call up my name like, I don't even know it.
Oh my God.
He
That's
did
hilarious.
speak about it, and he's a Rastafarian now, and he's like, but no, would I never do that, Julie? Oh,
Rewrite
no,
history.
man. Julie, no, man.
This is one reality we should just create in her head. And Tazna Bully having to look like a fight with her.
Oh no. Was it delusions too? Like that's what we're saying. Delusions.
Right?
Next thing I see this and our therapist I talk about this next week.
Oh my God.
Jaja.
But
Jaja.
again, I don't remember what I was saying.
Yeah.
But I was talking. I was talking about friends.
Yes.
And I was saying right. So the friends that I had in high school that stood by me through all of whatever I was doing, that didn't mimic me, that tried to help them, try to figure read up and study book. And I'm talking like teenagers, and I say, okay, they read up on self-cutting, what to do. Them I try to be my therapist, them follow me, go to school, nurse, whatever. Those are the friends that I have now. Anybody you see me post up, like my picture with my friend Sherdine or Crystal or Casey, those are friends I've had for over 28 years. And so, I remember the point when me did not make one, me have to call upon a friend.
Because you're self-mutilating, so they helped you. So it's like that's the diagnosis.
Right. Okay, right. So I was saying, I was talking about the shame.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, I didn't feel any shame with them, and they didn't like make me feel weird in public or anything, and they were always trying to help. But the truth is, the stigma that's associated with mental illness is oftentimes worse than the illness itself. And so, because of that, I was ashamed to get help. And, my thing is light compared to some people. You have some teenagers who attempt suicide in their rooms and it don't work, and then they just get up the next day and pretend that everything is okay. You have children who are molested and it makes them want to kill themselves. You have kids who are living with schizophrenic mothers, and therefore it affects the child. So I didn't really get the healing I needed until I migrated to the US of A, because now when you go to the USA and you're seeing a therapist, it's almost like you're bougie.
Yeah.
It's almost like you own a Shih Tzu or a very expensive pet.
And because mental health access, like getting the resources that you need, it feels like a rich people thing. Like even like rich people have those problems. Like if you're a working man, you don't have the luxury of feeling depressed.
But everyone is encouraged. Even in where I was working, you have free access to a therapist if you want.
That's that American life.
Yeah.
Because just even yesterday I read I can't remember his name. I think he's Grant. He committed suicide.
Who's that?
His name was Grant. I can't remember. He's like a marketing. They said that right, because he's a marketing husband. That's what I heard. Yeah, she's a head of TVJ. Her husband, he committed suicide in a field. Like yesterday.
That's the thing with the men. That's the thing with the men. So with the women, we generally talk about stuff first. With the men, the stigma affects them even worse.
Yeah.
Because remember, if you catch a man crying, and us as women, we are part to blame too. We say him soft, him a ball, him this and him that, him can't perform, him whatever. It's funny. But we don't realize that deep down, it can break down a man's self-esteem and it can break down his ego. And sometimes men don't feel comfortable talking about it, and they are more draconian than we are. So today you see them, tomorrow you just don't.
And then there's like even cultures like toughen up, like
tough up, stop crying. With women, we will talk about it, we will cry, and we will this and we will that. So the stigma affects us less. With the men, as I said, today you see them, tomorrow you just don't.
Yeah. which
Because
is
them say, all right,
unfortunate.
I'm gonna, and I lost a friend, Jason Neal, in 2018 by suicide, and I
was
did
in
not.
Jamaica?
Yes, that was in Jamaica. I did not see that coming. Jason Neal is somebody I knew from high school, and when me said cha-cha boy, I mean proper curly hair, brown skin, businessman, have money, cha-cha boy, right? And he got married and thing, and he was a successful business. Here today, gone tomorrow. Shot himself in the head.
Wow.
Cha-cha. My God. And that's it. It's just a shame. It's a shame. And like most people don't understand it. And I realize older folks, especially if you carry it to your parents, they don't have the language for it. They're just like, just pray. What are you talking about? Just give God thanks. And that's like, I'm not ungrateful. I'm just sad. Can I not be sad? You know, it's just, it's a whole bunch. But I mean, my final question to you is, your inspiration, because even with like you're an advocate for mental health and whatever, I'm sure you realize that you've inspired countless people. Like how you continue, like how you move on with that, like knowing that you're here to be an inspiration to people, and I just be a voice for them in some way.
I mean, I don't really like, I don't pay attention to, well, put it in simple terms, I try to not make it get to my head. So if persons would tell me that they inspire me and stuff like that, I kind of tend to remain grounded. I mean, I appreciate it, but at the same time, I don't want to lose myself in trying to be a person who is inspirational, because then it becomes fake. And then I try to achieve goals so that I can say, okay, I achieved this, you can do it too. So I have to just you see, they were inspired by me being myself. And so any growth that I want to make and any goal that I want to achieve, it has to be because I feel like that's something that I need to do, and not necessarily something that I need to do so that other persons feel inspired. So you see, like me getting that scholarship for being a pilot, and after me get the scholarship, I said, this is not for me. I still have that same attitude.
don't.
Like, I don't want to, me already stressed out with so many things. So I don't want to be stressed with the pressure of having to, perform for anyone. Then, if you love me because of how I am, then you're going to continue loving me because I'm going to continue being who I am, how I am. What's funny, I am a Christian, but at the same time, I am going to play my reggae music on social media. I'm not going to hide and play it. I don't hide the fact that I love Spice. I don't hide the fact that I love Vybz Kartel. I just won't curse in the social media space or curse because kids watch my stuff and I want them to feel comfortable. I want parents to feel comfortable and I want it to be educational. But at the same time, I am not going to hide that I love reggae music. I'm not going to hide that. Yeah, me used to go dance all. In the last video that I put, everybody I say, yeah, man, we know some mommy used to run the streets. I was basically playing myself.
Oh.
You understand? So, I mean...
You curse outside of the social media space?
When I'm frightened. So like if I'm driving and somebody almost hit me. Yeah.
And
Shit.
No, I think he's a bomber clock.
She not say if I can. She not confirm which one leader.
And on that note,
Everybody does that something over there now. I say what's going on.
No, but in public I'll be like, oh my God.
that's not the real Julie.
But you
That's
know,
not.
my sister
good.
said something to me that was interesting. Even if when you're say for example you want to cuss but you don't want to use the actual cuss word, you say, oh drats instead of the cuss word.
It's still
In your meditation, you're still cussing.
true.
And so, when the Bible speaks about foul language, it's not the combination of the letters, is the meditation behind the word. So I could be saying daffodils and it's a curse word. But, not many people are really ready for that discussion. So I just conform.
Daffodils as a curse word. We're not ready for that.
No, but it's like, that's why my mother used to watch That's So Raven when we were little pitney, and she used to say, oh, snap. And she's like, don't
That's a
say
cuss
that.
word.
She's like, yeah, it's a cuss word. Like, just because
Because
it's not
of the
shit.
meditation behind it.
Yeah. So I get it.
And even when people say, Jesus Christ.
That's horrible. That's the worst one.
Yeah.
Because you're taking the Lord's name in vain.
Which I never understood. But I mean, what do you mean by taking the Lord's name in vain? Like, you're supposed
It means
to
that you're calling it, but you're not necessarily calling him.
Yeah.
So if I just walk around and saying, Ariel, and I'm not calling you. Ariel, I walk past you and I say, Ariel, but I'm looking at the door. I mean, you would get annoyed.
True.
I'm not calling to you. I'm not trying to get your attention. I'm not saying, okay, I need this from you. I'm just Arieling all over the place. So that's what it means.
Yeah,
In
call it
vain
for
means
cause.
in
Yeah.
aid of nothing. That's what it means.
Get it now, Eden?
I mean, I'm thinking he wants us to call him all the time. So
Not
I
in
don't
vain,
know.
though.
Yeah.
Well, you know it's in vain.
Because he didn't want his attention.
Especially during them other times there too, you know.
You know what? True.
Yeah, you know what, Julie? Yeah. Tajna, where am I going,
Blessed
Tajna?
fountain.
When you're driving, Tajna.
Yeah. Thank God. We just did
Be
that.
my glory.
Yo, one slash I left off, your name was Restaurateur.
Yeah, no, for real, are you own it?
Her name is Julie. We met sometime last year.
Oh, okay.
Her pet name, just like my nickname as a kid is Julie Mango. Her nickname as a kid is Julie Mango as well. So it's basically a similar story. Or both our dads gave us that name. So no, her real name is Julie Ramchandani.
Oh.
She's an Indian lady.
Oh, because it'd be funny if the dads. You said
Just start singing
Have a
again.
Julie here
Just
and a
start singing
Julie
again,
there.
Julie. Just start singing again. We just
funny.
look at you and say, yeah, you can go feed yourself at a restaurant now. Yeah.
No.
Give thanks for passing through though, Julie. It's
Yeah,
nice
You
talking
guys
to
are
you.
having me.
and
Nice
tell him
conversation.
again no, this not gonna come up by the time.
No.
For promote IMC is okay.
Just tell them where them can follow up on
Yeah.
the socials.
I am Julie Mango on all social media. All of them. Let's look for I am Julie Mango.
Okay. Any forwarding projects where you have or you want people to know about?
But nah, I tell you.
Okay.
Very secretive.
Yeah. All right, we could go and make she get some food now. All right, we hungry to here. How we that people gone?